Oh, finally an opportunity to be helpful to the village. So
Actually, I don't need you right now. But on second thought...
Whoa, thank you for giving me another chance. I was really hoping to get to go.
Oh, but maybe I actually want... no, I don't. I actually do want to.
Oh, a third chance. Oh my gosh, I didn't expect this would ever happen to me. Why are you being so generous?
Yeah, I don't even feel like doing a rampage right now. Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, welcome one and all to a fun little guide and discussion about the rampage. What the best rampage rewards are, why you would want to do the rampage, how to get the most rewards from the rampage, and the easiest way to do so. Basically, if you want rampage information that the tutorial doesn't tell you, you're in the right place. Though you're probably in the right place for a lot of things. You have the internet inches away from you at all times, which makes this place very good for you. Back on the rampage, especially the end game rampages with the apex bosses at the end give you a lot of useful materials, some that are specifically for upgrading your rampage weapon tree. These are excellent for each and every weapon type, if not quite the best. What makes these interesting to me is that they are sort of a shortcut to try a new weapon. If you want to try something new, just do a few rampages and you can get yourself a super powerful weapon of that type. One that you can customize to various different strengths of the weapon too to try it out, just to make things interesting. On top of this, you can use all of the rampage rewards that you get for melding. And while it is not quite as fast as the final boss method that I won't be talking about here, it is also worth a lot of materials. And honestly, it never hurts to shake things up a bit in the end game. You don't want to just do the same thing over and over and over and over again forever. As for how to get rewards, this may seem daunting at first, but becomes very simple once you find the option in your menu here. Once you have accepted a rampage quest, whether that be in the middle of said quest or simply in the hub after picking it up, you can see the specific rampage objectives. 4 of these are the same across every single rampage, and the rest are slightly different depending on the rampage quest that you are on in question. As you can see at the bottom, you begin at E rank and progress up to a maximum of S+ for maximum rewards. If you complete an Apex Rampage, even in the most scuffed of completed runs, you will complete the objective to defend the final gate, slay the Apex, and you'll get a ton of Stronghold level ups, with each level being worth points towards this. With the combined points for that, you're guaranteed a minimum of C for an Apex Rampage that is successful. On top of this, completing that rampage with less than 3 faints is worth an extra consistent chunk, easily up to B in an Apex Rampage, meaning you already got your bar half full from just relatively regular success, regular hunting, no extra objectives. The rest of these objectives, however, are selected from a pool depending on the specific rampage quest that you are on, and completing each of these is worth a varying amount of points, as you can see in the rampage quest info section of your menu, at the bottom here. Most of these objectives are very straightforward, such as repel using cannons. This means repel a monster, as in land the final hit that makes them walk away with a cannon. There are a number of these, and as long as you take them very literally, you'll do well. Repel with weapon means repel with your weapon. Village Defender repels a monster means one of your auto installations gets the final blow. This is quite simply get the final blow through whichever means that it tells you to do so. Use Dragonator or Splitting Wyvern Shot. This literally means use the Dragonator or Splitting Wyvern Shot. Gather dropped materials is a really easy one and quite clear what it means. Pick up the dropped materials, and it also helps you out quite a bit with the other ones too, as most rampage monster drops are various elemental blight or status application tools, on which note any of the ones that ask you to inflict an elemental blight or a status ailment can be aided by the siege weaponry, as cannons have a thunder ammo shot that gives thunder blight to things slowly, which you can charge, by the way, for anyone who didn't know that, and the automatic wyvern fire artillery installation that you can aim, by the way, for anyone who didn't know that, has fire blasts which inflict fire blight. Mounted cannons, once you unlock those, also have a silk shot option which can let you wyvern ride non-boss monsters, which you can then use to apply their statuses or elements individually to other monsters. For the status ailment objective specifically, bringing a blast weapon with you will help you get this particularly quickly, as blast is the easiest status to proc in general and counts towards that objective. If you have an objective to stun a monster, you can also accomplish this with crag shots from the regular ballista, or if you are on a cannon, the Thunderblight ammo mentioned earlier also leads to stuns, as Thunderblight does. It's worth noting that a stun is always worth extra points though, even when you don't have the stun objective. Getting as many stuns as possible is just really good for you. Set up hunting installations is a common and very easy objective to complete, as you can even progress this getting rid of siege weapons that you have already set up, and then putting a new one in the same place. You can do this on repeat until you finish the objective, and if you have this objective, in some cases you can even upgrade your stronghold before you face the first wave of the rampage. Most importantly, remember that these are not strict objectives that are required to reach S+ rank, as you can reach S+ rank consistently with an objective not complete.
You what?
As long as you did all of the rest of them, got a few blights, ailments, or stuns along the way. As well as this, there are also occasional extra objectives that will pop up while you're doing the rampage. If you don't complete these by the end of the next wave, they'll disappear. So try and do them as quickly as possible. They're just worth extra points. It's just another avenue to get more points, get to S+ just a little bit easier without doing the objectives you already have. Seeing as that is all of the actually possible sub-objectives currently in the game, why not jump into a couple of general tips then? I mentioned earlier that the Wyvern Fire Artillery turret could be controlled and aimed to fire blasts of fire blight at monsters, but it also has an alternate setting to fire a full-on fire beam, which is absolutely incredible at damaging monsters, and I find it super effective to place these on ground level, aimed through a path of heavy movement. Most specifically in Apex quests, I like to aim these at these spots where the Apexes love to gather and prepare their big moves. It's just a good way to give them a bit extra damage, even if you're on your counter signal weapon attacking phase. Past this, it's generally most effective in the rampage to focus on using the siege weapons around you instead of your weapons, unless there is an active counter signal. The counter signal is a massive hunter damage buff that makes us do significantly more than the siege weapons can, and you should be hunting relatively normally while this is active. Outside of this, try to take advantage of the alternate shot types of your siege weapons as much as possible, as they are all incredibly powerful in the right situation and for the right purpose. And the most obvious tip if you just want to get to the end of the rampage and succeed: 4 players is always easier than solo, though there is a slight caveat to this. If you are in a join request, not everyone is focused on completing every sub-objective possible. Not everyone is looking to get to S+ rank. Some people are just looking for the fastest and easiest way to the end. That said, in a group of 4 that is all on the same page about completing the sub-objectives, an S+ rank can be extremely consistent, far easier than it would ever be solo. When it comes to Apexes, they also don't care one bit how well you defended the first 2 waves. If they spawn and you are still in the first zone, they'll just bust right on through the gate in seconds. They don't care. They push you back to your final line of defense as quickly as possible. This can really throw you off guard if you aren't prepared for it, and you can be stuck spending the next couple of minutes setting up the next area to properly defend. However, you can do this at any point in the rampage, not just now. From the camp, there are 2 exits. The right exit brings you to the second area. From here, you can put hunting installations wherever you want. These are counted separately from the first zone. It's an entirely separate count, so putting a setup here early will not hurt the setup that you have elsewhere. It just lets you be more aggressive to the end boss of the rampage once they start going. Speaking of aggression towards end bosses, this mostly stands pat with the rest of the rampage. Stick to siege weaponry outside of counter signals, and most importantly, use all of your bursty damage when they are powering up their strong gate destruction move. And you can even use things like the splitting wyvern shot as a great addition to this to pretty much just cancel out one of these moves entirely on its own. Make sure that you have a ballista and a regular cannon in the final area too, as while the mounted cannon may do a lot more pure damage, the alternate shot options of the cannon and ballista can prove quite useful in the later stages as well when the boss spawns extra monsters, between the retreat shot, the crag shot, and the thunder cannonball specifically. And this last piece of advice does apply to the Apexes, but also to Rampage as a whole. Use your limited installations wisely, as in the ones that make a named villager come out of the ground to help. These are all relatively short-term bonuses that are most beneficial when used mid-combat. Don't summon these early, or you might just waste a lot of their power. Use them when monsters are around and ready to take damage. It's also worth noting that you don't really need to be perfect at any of these things. The Rampage isn't meant to be difficult to complete. It isn't even meant to be particularly difficult to get S+ if you're all trying for it in a 4-person group. It's just different than normal hunting. It's a different style of gameplay that you have to adjust to. As long as you're at least trying to follow what the Rampage wants you to do, it will generally reward you for doing it. And that just about covers it. Everything you need to know about how and why to S+ rank your rampages, with a couple of more with a couple of more Apex-specific notes. Personally, I find the Rampage to be a really fun way of changing things up. Not really something I would want to farm all day, every day, but an interesting alternative option to normal hunting, while still getting to actually play Monster Hunter and get rewards that affect my character in the long run. What are your thoughts on the Rampage yourself and the system as a whole? Have you hit S+ rank in one yet? Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.